Good morning. How's everybody doing? Morning, afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day this finds you. Right? Thanks to all you early risers. You know who you are. When I offer Shambot the crown for first arrival, at least noticeable arrival. Just eating breakfast quick, and then we'll get this party started. Shambot, Hoos, good to see you. Flint. Matt, good to see you. Tad, Roger, Blake, good evening. Mr. White, why I gotta be Mr. White? I wanna be Mr. Black. Harrigan. Appreciate the sound and video check, Blake. Excuse me. William, good to see you. All right. Let's kick this sucker off, huh? Question of the day. This will be an interesting one. There you go. All right. Your mayor wants you to rename your street, and you want to put an RPG reference or use an RPG reference. What street will you now live on? Actually, what is your address? Street address. I don't need to know your state. Making you think too early in the morning, maybe, for some of you. The mayor says, you know what? Your street name's boring. We want you to rename it. You're creative. You play RPGs. This is RPG Town. We need your street renamed. What do you name it? What is your new address? Wow, my chat was like frozen. Hey, Gabe, good to see you. Aaron, good to see you. It was Mr. Pink's complaint, indeed. Hola, Tiffany, good to see you. Dorcas, what are you doing here? Harrigan says Blackmore. Just Blackmore. That's the name of the street. Blackmore Street, Blackmore Avenue, Blackmore Road. Roger, Illithid Avenue. Flint, Greyhawk Drive. Macho Women with Machine Guns Court. Now, it doesn't have to be an actual RPG. Like, just saying. Maybe a name that only RPGers would actually know, right? And get. Monster of the Street. Is it Monster of the Street? My town is full of crap like Robin Hood, Friar Tuck, Centaur Drive. Get out of here. Is it really? You got a good, cool city planner, man. Tiffany says 666 for Bryn Street, Portland, Oregon. Mr. Black's on another job, indeed. Seriously, that's interesting. I would probably name mine like D6 Avenue. D6 Avenue. Roll for initiative court. Wild Sea Court. All right. Mine can remain the same because it reminds me of Deadlands, Weird West, RPG, Sandwood. Sandwood, that's a good one. some of those, Western-oriented names. I don't know if we have any cool names in Madison, where I live. I'm sure we do. Hey, Jason, good to see you. And thanks for the vanilla Coke, my man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Wizards of the Court. Who's Sean P. Kelly way? No. Come on now. The mayor's gonna want to rename your street. You live in RPG City. What would you name your street? Where do you now live? My neighborhood is actually called Bigfoot Hill. Is it because the people that live there have big feet? "2020 Modifius Lane." Hey, here we go. Job, Orcus Dorcas. Well done. Bravo. So I would live at like 66 Free League Avenue. Invisible Turtle Avenue. A Rollmaster reference, which I would not have gotten. So thank you for pointing that out, Gabe. So now you take all these names and you tell your significant other, and they can go make you one of those fake signs, and you can put it in your man or woman cave. "2020 Modifius Lane." Touche. Oh, shots fired. Pinkerton Lane. I don't know if I would consider that an RPG reference, but I think we all would know. Some other people would know it, but not as an RPG reference. I gotta say, 2020 Modifius Lane is pretty good. Your gaming room, we all want to have. We all want or have them. Yes. I don't even have a gaming room here. My place is too small. Uh-oh. 66 West End Lane. Oh, boy. Yeah. He's on fire, folks. "20 ability check. Circle. Does Gygax have a street named after him in Lake Geneva? I do not believe so. As far as I know, there isn't one. I could be wrong. I mean, they can't even get a memorial down there. Like, well, I'm thinking, no, I don't think there's a Gygax street in Lake Geneva. What's up, Laramie? You could try to Google Flint, but I'm pretty sure there is not. Goodman Grove, apartment D14. Or some weird, like apartment D7.5 or 7.5. Even though there's no die that's like that, it would be like a split level. All right. Street name, hey, Laramie. The mayor of your town's come to you and knows you're a gamer. He or she thinks your street name is boring. He or she is the mayor is allowing you to rename your street as long as it's RPG related. Where do you now live? Apartment 3D, subfloor A. Use West End as a default city when I run games in a modern setting. Next week we'll say, what do you name your city? No, I'm just kidding. Probably be all the same responses. Blackmore, Gygax, Modifius City. All right. I think we're tapped. Hey, if you, I don't know, this might be it for today. If you found that question interesting or uninteresting, feel free to hit the like or dislike buttons. Much appreciated. I think I had a record amount of likes last week on the last stream, just so you know. I don't know if it was up to 50 or what, but it was a pretty good amount. So thank you so much for doing that. Near my house, Robin Hood Street, Lockley Street, Dinedin Street, Percival Street, Tennyson Circle, Avalon Street, Maid Marian Court, Friar Tuck Court, Little John Court, Bedivere Court, Arrow Court, Quiver Court, Merlin Drive. So we have something that's similar, but it's all states. That's down the street from me. Demon Grinder knows. And they're not all the states. Like there's got to be, I don't know, 20 streets. They're not even all the states. It's like Maryland, Delaware. I'm not even sure how they picked the ones they did. Are they all East Coast states maybe? I have to double check. Sir Galahad Drive, Mordred Street. Is it really? You have all those, seriously. Round Table Drive, Lancelot Street, King's Court, Gawain Street, Arthur Street, Excalibur Street. All right, don't anybody dox Harrigan. Okay. Take his word for it. McAllister or Dorchester Drive. I like it, Blake. I like it. McAllister Drive would be an interesting one. Gabe, we had a Candyland where I grew up in Eden Prairie. Candyland. I should make note of the interesting streets in our city. Domain of Dread Drive. 723182 Astonishing Swordsman is Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea Boulevard of the Avenues of the. That is, I should have said with the intention of the longest street sign you could come up with. And I think Mr. Weitzel will take that crown. Can you imagine writing that on your envelopes? Yes, I still send letters. Or I have actually the stickers I just put on for return addresses. That's a good one. Ugh. I would probably live on a street and they would change the name to that. And I would be like, who renamed the street? Some guy named Jason Weitzel. He's got a butt ton of money. He decided to make your life miserable. Astonishing Sources of Hyperborea. Too funny. All right. All right, let's do this. Let's do it. All right. News. Let's get into news. Or what may qualify as news. It's hard to say. I did not know this, so apparently the MCDM RPG is no longer MCDM RPG. Like it's got a name now. Draw, steal. What are you doing, Sean? I'm drawing steel. Now, if you served in the military, you might have served with a guy whose last name was Steele. So, in that case, it takes a whole nother meaning. Draw steel. That would be how my wife would pronounce it. If she saw it on a table. Draw steel. Yeah. Draw Steel's finally getting play tests released, and it's a fun dynamic game. It's a fun dynamic game with focus on player fun and excitement. There you go. Sold. Anybody play testing this thing yet? Anybody? Anyone? Bueller? So let me see what I can glean out of this article. From the initial campaign for Draw Steel seemed to pitch itself as a more approachable version of some of the fantasy TTRPGs we already know. There would be dungeons to explore, but it wouldn't be a game focused on dungeon crawling nor exploration, which is vague. They claim to cut down on slog and designing combat so that battles get more exciting as time goes on, which is refreshing if you're used to a game where battle might feel like a little repetitive and dragging. Let's see. Should we just cut to gameplay? Rolling for success and failure for anything in this system is on a tiered chart of success using your power roll. Power roll! Dude, if I did an actual play, there would have to be not sound effects, but sound voices, narrative, like, okay, well, I'm going to do my power roll. Power roll! Hit the button. The power is similar to D20 rolls in D&D. It's just what you do for almost all checks. In Draw Steel, you use 2d10s or 2d10. Add your relevant characteristic and edges, subtract your bane, and consult the tiers. Tier 1 is 11 and under. Tier 2 is 12 to 16, and 3 is 17 and above, which means there's no guesswork, no saying, yeah, that's good enough to pass in this situation, and none of your DM looking at the dice and being coy as to the success or failure of your roll. Every tier has something else happen, and everybody knows what tier you've landed on. It's kind of a degree of success, maybe, kind of. This also means there's no turns where a character ends up being entirely useless or nothing happens, which I think we all know is the worst. That said, I wouldn't say this is a simple game. Tactics are important, and players will learn to be careful where on the map their various adventures are in combat. Do I hear tactical? More than tactical, like minis. And to me, this only adds to the dynamic nature of Draw Steel. It can be easy to zone out between turns and other TTRPGs, but with this, you need to think about your next move and how it will relate to your party members' moves. Draw Steel was fully backed in January, but if you'd like to learn more, pre-order your own copy. You could do so at MCDM. That's kind of it. I don't have a lot of stuff. Yeah, double kill, headshot. I need the Unreal Tournament voice guy. Where is he? Laramie says, I'll take Advantage Avenue. Fair enough. Sounds like the old game Flashing Blades is still in trademark. Flint says pass. Victor, morning. Who says nope, not in on it? Draw Steel, not feeling it. Draw Steel is as a title gives me a swashbuckling vibes. There you go. Get over here. Get that Mortal Kombat feeling going. Yeah, baby. Kristen, good to see you. Welcome. Good to see you. Glad you could make it. Hey, they used my 2D10 trick. Well, they apparently found out. Ben, good to see ya. Battle map ahoy. Yeah. What is this, Copper96? Hey, good to see ya. Welcome. What is this as in, like, the game? Or what is this as in the stream? Or maybe both. I never get a chance to watch this. Thank God my company dumped a bunch of desk work on me. Well, there you go. Nothing wrong with spending company time watching YouTube. Draw a steal. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Next up, let's do it. Oh, hey, Sean uses an ad blocker. That is terrible. That's terrible, Sean. Stop that. Okay, I will. Hollywood Reporter, artists score major win in copyright case against AI art generators. So, the court declined to dismiss copyright infringement claims against the AI companies. So, the order could implicate other firms that used Stable Diffusion, the AI model at issue in the case. Well, all right then. There you go, folks. Just thought I'd bring you up to speed on the fight against artificial intelligence. The machines will not be happy. Just saying. Expect full retaliation in the future. Okay, just saying. Claims against the companies for breach of contract and unjust enrichment, plus violations of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act for removal of information identifying intellectual property were dismissed. Case will move forward to discovery, where the artists could uncover information related to the way in which the AI firms harvested copyrighted materials that were then used to train large language models. Ooh, this will be interesting. More to come. Stay tuned. Carla Ortiz, who brought the lawsuit, has worked on projects like Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, and Thor Ragnarok, and is credited with coming up with the main character design for Doctor Strange. Amid the rise of AI tools in the production pipeline, concept artists like Ortiz are taking stock of further displacement down the road. Speaking of which, there is a trailer. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's a Lord of the Rings trailer that somebody put together using AI. And so I think what they did was they probably used it for the thematic music. They probably used it for the voiceover. And then they took AI image generator. I don't know for sure, but it kind of looks like this. They used AI image generator and then used AI to animate those images. And I mean, I think they equate it to like the 1982 trailer. Like, I don't know if they used the verbiage from the 1982 animated movie trailer. It's, oh, that's so great. I would totally watch this. It's in my humble opinion, not a great trailer, I would think. Circa 1982, I guess, contextual wise, maybe. But it's so funny when you like everybody is like jacked, like Gandalf, and like Aragorn is like super buff. Like, I don't know how they came up with some of these images, but you could see some of them like, oh, come on now. I mean, the Christopher Lee one is like almost verbatim Christopher Lee. Like, it's not even different at all. And I just goes to show you, like, where is it getting its influence? Because that's a huge, the reference is uncanny. Bill Payne, good to see you. Wow, I'm getting more folks I haven't seen in a while. Good to see you. Skynet will recalculate, indeed. I'm just waiting for it to go down an alley and then like some guy that looks like Arnold shows up all buck naked. I mean, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm just saying it's probably not too far off in the future. Although I think that happened in like the 90s, right? All right. God, I got my eyes driving me crazy. Don't skip leg day. Yeah, right. I mean, you should see it. I wish I could. I wonder if I can find it. So here, I'll put this link in the chat and see if I could do a search for Lord of the Rings trailer AI. Found it. Here, I'll put it in the chat. You guys can watch this. Let me know. I'll just wait here, and then I'll get your opinions. It's 1:23. I'm just kidding, though. Should have probably waited till the end of the show to put that in there. And Sean lost half his audience because he told him to go somewhere else. All right, let's move on. That was kind of news. I got something else I want to bring up at the end of the show, which I hope I remember. I'll probably get caught up and then wrap it up, and then I'll be done. But I don't have any bundles this week to go over. Reading Aid, good to see you. Glad you could stop in. For those of you that might have just arrived, do me a favor. If you've not been turned away after 5 seconds, can you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down? And if you're willing to wait and see, I'm totally down with that. Just don't forget. Thanks. All right, let's go into, I guess, print news. Let's do print news. Print news. All right. His Majesty the Worm. Anybody get this yet? Looks kind of cool. His Majesty the Worm is a new school game with old school sensibilities. A classic mega dungeon experience given fresh life through a focus on the mundanities and small moments of daily life inside the dungeon. Now, I will say this. If you're not a mega dungeon person or a dungeon fan, then obviously this is not for you. But you never know. At the center of the world is the city. At the center of the city is the underworld. At the center of the underworld is His Majesty the Worm. Yeah. I might pick this up. I don't know. Might be cool in Shadowdark or whatever. Actually, it's its own system, though, right? Yeah, it's its own system, own game. So it's a tabletop role-playing game designed for dungeon crawling, written by Josh McCrowell and published by Exalted Funeral. Game Master is given tools to create a mega dungeon called the Underworld. The players create adventures to explore the underworld in pursuit of their personal quests. Don't drink carbonated stuff when you're trying to do talking. Tarot cards are used as randomizing element. Food, hunger, light, and inventory management are central to play and actually fun. like how the author's like, and actually fun. Tarot cards are used to create an action-packed combat system that ensures that all players have interesting choices every minute of combat. No downtime. The game has robust procedures, adventures in the underworld, rest in role-playing driven camping scenes, and plot long-term schemes in the city at the center of the wide world. The relationships between companions called bonds powers the rest and recovery mechanic of the game. The game centers on the human element. Just add a tarot deck. The book's 404 pages long. Whoa! No joke. Split up over 10 chapters and 5 appendices. Need a single GM and 3 to 6 players. It emphasizes long-term Metroidvania-like play. I don't know if I'd get this. I'm interested to know it. Like, if somebody were running this at a con, sign me up. Speaking of which, Gamehole Con, I think, is event reg is today. And I'm running Delta Green, so some of the folks that are going to Gamehole Con might want to, hey, man, I want to, like, at noon get on there and get my events. It looks like there's a preview. Read 4 sample chapters, over 100 pages of content. Learn more about the game's 8-year development. Wow! And dig into game design devlogs at our itch page. So, I don't know. I might have to check it out, man. I might check it out. Krista says, I kept hovering over His Majesty to purchase and decided to buy it today. The hardcover is sold out, so it's PDF only. Yikes. Looks like a general discussion about various TTRPG news. I'm going to listen in and see how it goes. Oh, you just kind of stumbled on me. Okay, Copper. Yeah. Yeah, I go over some of the stuff that's been released and things of that nature. And then, of course, the banter in the chat is usually pretty active, so... I get it if this is not your thing to listen to, but it is a good thing to I don't show a lot of, granted the video is sometimes relative, but His Majesty the Worm is flying out of Exalted Funeral. It's sold out twice in the last month. And then Phil talks about the tarot system. Got it. Whoever made the Lord of the Rings trailer ended their prompt with quote, ... And be sure to coat the actors in a sheen of baby oil. Yeah, right? It's pretty crazy. Like, what the hell? Oh, you guys are watching the trailer. That's fantastic. All right. Gamehole VIG is today, and General Art Reg is the 31st. Oh, I got it wrong. I think that's probably why I didn't get notified, but good to know. Thanks, Victor. I stand corrected. Anyways, so, yeah, there's the worm, if you will. Next up, we'll go to Ian World. Now, I'm not affiliated with any of these websites. That should go without saying, but go and check them out and click on all their ads and partake in all their stuff. Links in the chat. RPG print news. Let's see. First up, in case you didn't know, The One Ring, Moria, and The Lord of the Rings role-playing Moria. So one is native to The One Ring, 2nd edition, and the other one is 5th edition. Same book, different rules, different system. So $45.62, depending on what the exchange rate is at any given moment. So I have it. I started reading it. I didn't get too much into it, but Blake says from the original question of the day, Shadow of Khazad-dûm Street would be the street name he names his street he lives on. Seas of Sand, book only. Seas of Sand, book plus map plus poster by Exalted Funeral. Hardcover setting, same hardcover setting with map and poster. Toolbox setting guide for old school RPGs about a vast desert ocean of liquid sand. By day, the sand is liquid, and ships sail across them while people sink. By night, the sand is solid, and ships flounder while people walk free. Interesting dilemma. Includes procedures and content for building and populating a map of the seas and its cities. I could see this. I could see using that idea in a West Marches game. You come to a sea. It's got, liquid sand. Oh, cool. We flee at night. Oh, now it's solid. 36 monsters, 20 plants, 20 weird stuff, dozens of tables. 1D100 world-altering mystical truths triggered through visions and drugs, and the worm that rises from the sand to consume you. And of course, I would use the worm that would consume the party as well. Good idea. Exalted Funeral. So it's for OSE, by the way. Next one, K1, K2, Kavlov's Sanctuary Revised and Dwellers of the Bog by the Dungeon's Key for Merc Bori. Bori. What's Merc Bori? That sounds like Merc Borg. Yeah, right? Ooh. Question. Copper96 says, have you heard about the new Patreon changes that threatened creators' livelihood? Oh my gosh. If you're talking about the iOS app, yes. I sent an update to all my patrons. The workaround is don't pay for a Patreon. Don't pay a patron through the iOS app, which I should probably check. Make sure I'm not doing for some of the people I support. Otherwise, you got to pay the iOS app tax. So just do it through patreon.com and it'll be fine. Laramie says, I did the Kickstarter for Seas of Sand there. Haven't read it yet. Oh, okay. All right. You have it. So Salt Heart looking forward to Reaver and Weird Heroes of Public Access, both coming to crowdfunding soonish. And one sounded like a good Dark Sun stand-in. Yeah. Yeah. A couple others have been checking out, making sure they're paying through the website. So next up, continuing on with print news, Paranorma. What is this guy's problem? Paranoia, Brave New Missions. Something satiric this way comes. By Mongoose Publishing for the most recent edition of Paranoia. hardcover adventure collection. Includes 5 missions that torture present vibrant challenges and more catch-22s than you can shake a depleted laser pistol at, so PCs can kill corporate with each other's troubleshooters. BESM, not to be confused with BDSM, okay? So this is Big Eye Small Mouth RPG, 4th edition, yo. By Discami Publishing. Hardcover supplement and 136 cards. So Icarus is one of the 7 prime worlds, I did not know that, of BESM's anime multiverse setting. Covers the fantasy realm's history in its many regions, monsters, heroes, villains, stats, equipment, weapons, vehicles, magical artifacts, NPCs. And then the denizens of the multiverse is 136 characters. And monsters from across the anime multiverse. There you go. That's print news. Booyah. Booyah. Let's see. We're already on crowdfunding. Should we get to crowdfunding? Let's just keep this sucker moving. Keep her moving. So as Charlie Barron says in my neck of the woods, keep her moving. All right. Let's see. First up, heyo. 13th Age. You guys that have kicked this probably know and have gotten an update, but nonetheless. This is to the Gen Con follow-up, so they must have had something kind of going on at Gen Con, obviously, with panels about 13th Age 2E. It was the panel. They did a panel on the game and monster design workshop. And this is by Pelgrin, by Rob Heinzu. So he's one of the folks that's behind 13th Age. He posted this. He posts, when is it coming out? My goal is to have the laid-out, printer-ready PDFs delivered to Pelgrin for the printer by the end of this year. Barring weird shipping events, that would get the printed books distributed before Gen Con 2025. It would also get PDFs into backers early 2025. The art process is going great so far. For fun, this update includes my 2 favorites of the illustrations that got completed yesterday, the Revised Emperor and Simone Bonek's Drider Sorceress. How long is playtest feedback going to be useful? For big things until the end of September. In September! Earth, Wind, and Fire, baby. September. For small things, longer than that, into October certainly, and for typos and numbers that are easily corrected in November. As mentioned, pieces of Game Master's Guide are already in editing. The classes chapter from the Hero's Handbook will be the last thing we finish. What's your favorite mechanic in 13th Age that has made the transition to 2E? I said the one unique thing, and the one unique thing is formal noun. So Jonathan said the way in which spells and powers and resources are only refreshed when you've fought a certain number of battles. So that all your die rolls matter. Heroes get their oomph back in a dramatic arc after facing their weight in challenges, instead of by sleeping it off or using a wand to heal themselves. Always interesting to hear some of the differences, like, hey, this has been around for a long time. I'm not a big fan of it. What should we do to change it? What is 2E going to make the game easier to learn and play? It's there. I won't read it all. There's not much, actually. He says, like, even there are a couple other answers to this question, but they're in the middle of changes. Should I buy this 13th Age Battle Scenes supplement? There you go. So, yeah. 13th Age, baby. There you go. Check it out. Morning, Eileen. Good to see ya. Looks like Cosmere RPG might beat Avatar record. We should probably do a check on that. Hope I don't forget. Check my Patreon after you found the issue. Mine I'll go through Patreon, pal. There you go. Way to go, Bill. Copper, another question from Copper. Hey, Copper. There are so many new TTRPGs out to replace D&D 5e. If you've had to choose only one of these other new TTRPGs to play, which one would you choose? Copper, I like the cut of your jib. For me, it'd be Shadowdark. Shadowdark or Forbidden Lands, depending. Shadowdark. I would put my vote up for Shadowdark. Anybody else want to answer Copper? Gabe, you got me. You got me, Gabe. Gabe knows me. He knows me. He's got my number. I just like it. I do. I think it's a great game. I really do. It's my new D&D. There, I said it. It's got a little old school flavor, a little old school. It's got a little modern design, kind of simple. No list of skills. RPG Exile, good to see you. Welcome. Chris says, I'm literally going to buy anything Pelgrim Press puts up for sale from now on until I or they die. Okay, all right then. Nothing wrong with that. RPG Zone, Dragonbane. So Blake is answering Copper's question. Dragonbane. Flint says Shadowdark. Laramie said, I enjoyed Sean's Shadowdark. Appreciate it, Laramie. But you could pick a different game that's kind of your version of D&D or whatever you want to do. Your alternative. What Kristen says might be unpopular here, but maybe Savage Pathfinder. I don't think it's the most popular choice of the crowd here. Doesn't mean it's not a bad choice. Or that it is a bad... It doesn't mean that it is a bad choice by any means. Solidheart says, Lux Arcana for me, but for the D&D 5e crowd, I think Daggerheart, when released, might gain a following. Whoa. Harrigan, he's got a list. Come on, Harrigan. Which ones? He. Shambot says Dragonbane. Hopper says, I'm on the fence. With TOV, I've backed DC20 and MCDM. I've heard great things about Shadowdark, 13th Age, and EZD6 have come up a lot. Thanks for your input. EZD6, we got a favorite. If you go to Digital Hobbit on YouTube, I don't know if he did one on EZD6. Maybe? He might have. He's a big fan of EZD6. His name is Mirko. So, on our Discord, we've got talks about quite a few of those. Yep, Laramie, CNC guy. Bill says I'm going with Forbidden Lands, but I'm also tempted by Shadowdark and or OSE. So I think, Copper, to your question, I'm glad you bring it up because you spur a little conversation. I like that. I think it's going to be... I mean, there's no wrong answer. It's a very personal question. But I will say this. There are like fantasy RPGs, and then there are like a D&D derivative. And so if you say, well, you know, with 5e, what are some of your favorite alternatives? You might get both, right? Like Forbidden Lands is different than Shadowdark. Shadowdark is probably, is on the scale. So some of these games like D20 specific, are going to probably align closer to the 5e space. So I say that only because, like, what is your particular, like, flavor, right? Do you prefer to align closer to the 5e spectrum, or do you prefer to get away from it? And even that's kind of tricky because if you go back for far enough, you're looking at basic and expert, and then you might as well just be playing old school essentials. So I guess that's, whereas like basic role playing is different. Great game. It's just different. Dalmanwood's another one, right? That's a good question. Looking forward to Dalmanwood. Who says Dalmanwood? So if you haven't checked out Dalmanwood, Gavin Norman is doing that, and he is known for old school essentials. And it's like, it's not a setting for old school essentials. It kind of is originally, but he's making making it his own game. So it's going to have his own particular rules, but I imagine it's going to be heavily influenced with the BX side of things. So there's always like this, what branch of the tree, of the RPG tree does it fall, and how high and how far out. For me, D&D is tired. I could still have fun playing, but running it, not sure. Yeah. But I do appreciate it. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. What am I doing here? Let's keep moving. Keep her moving. All right, let's do it. Reaver for Joseph, who's a member of our Discord, if I'm not mistaken. So if you want to check this out, it hasn't launched yet, but it's going to be coming. So I'll give him a little props here. Sword and sorcery role-playing game, merging a unique die chain mechanic with a deadly ancient world setting to bring you heroic adventure with more grit and less gonzo. Yeah, so you want to get notified on launch and check that out. I will put this in the chat, and then I will also, he has a blog entry that gives you even more insight into Reavers, which I will post right here because I have it next up. And you can even know more. More grit, less gonzo. Kshing, says Gabe. Gabe even went out of way to put an emoji in there and search for the double swords. I can get behind Reaver. So what, I don't know, what does he got for I don't know what his goal is going to be. I'm interested to see, because it might be fairly doable with the crowd that we have. So let's talk about Reaver at Raven God Games. So he's got a list of details here even before. So the Reaver core rulebook is a full game, approximately 350 pages, and will include everything you need in one book, including character creation, sorcery, action resolution, GM rules, mass combat, seamanship, artifacts, adversaries, and even include a generic history-inspired setting. Swords and sorcery, a little bit different than fantasy, right? Like typical Tolkien fantasy. Like that's why some of the folks like the swords and sorcery genre. And, oh my God, what is his name? Oh my God, what is his name? He did a talk at BSRCon about swords and sorcery and the differences. Silly me, but where do I find your Shadowdark ? Loved next text. So Bill, thank you. And next text may be revived. We don't know. There's talks. Harrigan's in the chat, and we're in negotiations, I think. See if we continue that campaign. We're not recording Shadowdark, so it's not any actual play. It's just a pickup game here and there. July was a rough month. I don't think I ran a single session in July. A lot of people were out in summer and stuff. So it's pick up, drop in, drop out, West Marches style. Copper says, I'm leaning toward a D20 type variant, D and D5E, something that will be easy for me to change over to. Totally understand. Yep. Swords and sandals, swords and sorcery, swords and sands, sandals and something. Swords and salt heart. Salt heart and sandals, salt heart and sorcery. Kristen says, so what differentiates Reaver from other D20 games that have come out recently? Oh, that is a good question. That is not something I can answer, but it might be in his article. He says, unique die chain mechanic, which is now present in the game. Astute readers will, of course, detect hints of Reaver's roots and mechanics inspired by other games. However, at the heart of our development was the question, does this support the SNS genre? So he's listing some of the inspiration, but I don't know if he gets into the mechanics in this article. I don't think he does. So I'm sure with the launch, it'll elaborate a little bit. No Tales of Valiant, or is it too close? I think that's a question to you, Copper. I feel like Sean just kind of answered it, but where does the hype come from? the hype for the game, Reaver. Okay, maybe actually get to the Bitter Reach. Well, that's the joke, Bill. We're gonna run the Blood March. It's gonna be the Blood March, and then we're going to play in the Bitter Reach. Gabe's gonna answer you, Kristen. Gabe says, I also don't know how many D20 games that are decisively sword and sorcery. That's true. That is true. Let's see what else. Let's go. Moving on here. This one showed up in the Discord. Tabletop Mirror, your personal VTT. It's funded at $23,000. It had a $2,500 goal. A relatively low goal for tech, I would find. He would tell himself. But it's at $23,000 on BackerKit. The premier TTRPG homebrew platform. So, yeah. What can it do? It's built for homebrews, game designers, world builders, and their communities, and it has the tools to match their unique needs, no matter if their table is a group of 4 or a group of thousands. For world builders, wiki-like functionalities. I got tired of wikis when I had to maintain one and got hacked all the time. I don't know. I mean, I put stuff in Notion. I guess it's kind of a wiki. Yeah. Draw world maps down to every town, river, and road. So Microsoft Paint. Microsoft Paint and a VTT. I don't know. I'm sure it'll be much more robust. Managing custom calendar systems. That's nice. Control exactly who can and can't see your lore. All right. For game masters, write spin-offs or entirely rewrite rule systems like D&D or Pathfinder seamlessly. Stay in control, fully fleshed out sharing and privacy controls. Create spells, items, abilities. Oh my God. There's too much. What's legal and what's banned at your table. Use InDesign style tools to format your homebrew and publish it. Interact with your community. Clarify rules. Woof. They're biting off a lot. I give them credit if they can pull this off. I don't know if it's if they've got a working pilot or not. Search rule system for players. Design and share in fully modular character sheets. Create and plan character builds and use them in your favorite campaigns. There's a marketplace coming in the next 6 months. Matchmaking for players finding games. Play-by-post functionality. Hey-oh, Harrigan. Top 9 TTRPGs. We're supplementing our D&D 5e and Pathfinder 2e support by adding several more systems. So apparently that's going to be one of the ones, a couple out of the box. Reward tiers. Rewards. Available to everyone. Give it as a gift. Got some dice, building add-ons. Small party bundle. Oof, from us to you. There you go. Partners. Rollgate, 9 Realms, Side Quest Designs, Zeta Code, Crystal Maggie, Tiger Claw. Huh. Here's some of the goals. Portrait Maker, Discord bot, 3D portrait makers. Yeah, I don't know. It looks mobile. I mean, unless it's just a picture, but VTT. It seems, I could be wrong, but it seems very much like a note, not a notebook. That's too short. I think that's coming up too short if I refer to it as a notebook. But it looks like much more like, sometimes when I think VTT, it's like, oh, there's a table, like a literal virtual table, and you can put maps and scenes and tokens and, whatever. This sounds very much like a reference kind of approach, right? Like You could put in your world information, the calendar system, and write stuff and put in spells. Like it's like a virtual book or tome, virtual tome maybe. Not taking anything away from it. It's just probably a little bit different. Some elements of a VTT that they may not be incorporating, and that's okay. So instead of 3.5 binder full of homebrew, your players will never read. It's now in near application. In near application with wikis, they will never read. Sean, you said you're running Delta Green at Gamehole, not seeing it. No, I'm running Delta Green, but not at Gamehole. It's not on there. I'm running Deathmatch Island at Gamehole, which I should probably read and get prepared for. Yo! I was initially upset about Tales of the Valiant because of the lack of character options, but then after building a character and looking at the rules, now I'm liking it. Well, there you go. There you go. Shout out. Thanks for the support, Brandon. The BSlandia Games is a tough one on Gamehole's site because if you spell it, each spelling of BSlandia, if it's different, it's a different search. And I don't know if it takes wild cards in the search. So just so you know. Shout out, and if anyone is close to Providence, I'll be at Necrocommon tomorrow running as Death in Harbor City, a Pulp Eric occult mystery. Very good. Say hi to Kevin if you go there. ShireCon coming up in September out in Connecticut. Copper says it's kind of like OneNote. Yeah, I mean, there's probably some, like they're putting in some rails, guardrails, like containers, right? They're making it probably a little bit consistent, where OneNote is, unless you have your own system, can be kind of kooky. Is this like Notion? I don't know. It would be surprising if it was just a Notion template. Here you go. Oh. You could make a lot of this stuff in OneNote. You can make a lot of this stuff in Notion, but I mean, if it's an app and it's got certain elements that help you navigate that versus creating the frame and then putting in the content, this is providing you the frame, is my guess. Yeah, it sounds like an intelligent gaming notebook. Right. Yeah. So there you go. Let's get up to... Somebody put this out on the Discord as well. The West owes you nothing, but it might just be the making of you. So this is a Tales of the Old West, which is a Year Zero engine tabletop role-playing game. Man, Westerns and supers for this guy. Just ignorant. Don't play a lot. Don't own a lot. So there you go. This is coming, so it's not out yet. If you want to if you want to check it out, there's 132 followers. I don't know what their goal is going to be, but if you like Westerns, you like the D66 type of Free League stuff. Oh, their goal is 150 signups. They'll add Tales of the Old West dice tray. Hit the magic number of 250 signups before we go live, and we'll complete the accessory trifecta with a 3-panel GM screen. All available as add-ons, so you can make your own bundle. I guess I got to read some Louis L'Amour. So go and check that out. What am I posting all these in the chat? Did I miss the last one? I don't remember. Tabletop Mirror, maybe I should post that as well. I thought I did, but just in case I missed it. There we go. Next one. Night Vale. I think we brought this up before, but now I think it's out there now. So Renegade Game Studios, bring the popular podcast, the backer kit. Oh, it's coming October 1st. So it's got a little buzz ahead of the time. There's what it might look like. Welcome to Night Vale. I listened to a couple episodes. It's coming. October 1st. It'll be interesting to see what this one does. I don't know. Just because of the crossover from podcast to RPG. I've been getting ads for the Night Vale for weeks, but I'm very confused by the 5e adjacent Essence 20 system to be used for it. Interesting. Glass Cannon had a Night Vale 1 or 2 shot recently. Wonder if it was at Gen Con. Dude. Yeah, I don't know. So I think, is it out there? Backer Kit pre-launch. I will put a link to the Backer Kit pre-launch. They already have 4,000 people signed up. So say they spend $100, right? Probably $50, maybe $50 for, unless they get the whole shebang, right? Do they have that? No, they don't have to list it. Okay. Yeah, Essence 20 role-playing system. And then let's get to when we usually wrap up RPG crowdfunding EN World stuff. Is it not going to load? Did I lose internet? Maybe. Maybe I got to go to EN World. Maybe they changed. Maybe they changed the link on me. EN words. Uh-oh. That would do it. Well, actually, I might be able to pull this up. Because of the beauty of Sean's particular system. Yeah, let me see if I can. I might have. That's too. Let me see. Come on. I think. Yeah, man. Let's see if I can pull this up. The images won't load because it's not pulling in from the website because obviously the website is down. we were clicking on all the ads, Sean. That's awesome. Reading Aid, you crashed their servers. Hey, EN World, you're welcome. That's hilarious. Oh man, DDoS attack from the BSers and this fine chat. Let's see. So I think I could. Let me share this because I have the web page. I actually have it saved because of Notion, the way it saves links, but it won't load the images because the site's down. So it's going to be a little less than cool, if you will. But let me, if you'll just bear with me, uno momento, and I will see if I can get this to share. Let's see. No, that's not what I want. Bear with me. I'm going to show you my Notion. Not that it will be a huge difference, but we'll make it all right. Okay, here we go. I'll try to blow her up a little bit. There we go. but I can see I'm in the way. There we go. Maybe that'll help. How about if I not show you everything in my Notion? All right. See? Damage control. No problemo. So the first one up is Nimble 5e. I think I can... I'll share the link. I'll share the link to Yin World when it gets up. But anyways. Yeah. Nimble from Nimble Company, backer kit. $95. It's the 5e revisions continue. Nimble 5e changes some of the standard rules to create greater player engagement. No to hit roll. Instead, you roll damage, which can explode. Or if you roll a natural 1, it fails. On the enemy's turn, you may defend or interpose. Magic has been revised. Next one, Rifts, the Savage Worlds core reprint from Pinnacle. So that's on backer kit. The most popular pledge is $100. This is not new. They're just reprinting it. But if you missed out, you want to grab it, there you go. Next one, Slaborg, or is it Slabori? Slabori by Nightfall Games. It's a Merc Bori system, core rulebook, 40 quid. Do you like the concept of SLA Industries but want an OSR system? Nightfall Games offers their setting using the Merc Bori rule set. Get the world with the deadlines of the Merc Bori rules. And of course, some of these would tell me that they funded if the image is loaded. Next one, Limitless Non-Combat Encounters from Limitless Adventures. System neutral book. PDF. Book provides something beyond combat. Encounters were where you role play and solve puzzles. 100 encounters that include mini games, investigations, and more. Oh, that would be fun. Everything in my role-playing game would be that book. Because players would love it. Huh? Right? Am I right? Yeah. Puzzles. They're fun. Let's see. I think that's it. Is that it? No. This week's crowdfunding roundup. Yeah, that's it. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. Those images load, but the other ones don't? What? Where are those images being pulled from? What is going on here? Maybe I just needed to scroll down more? No. Oh, I guess I did. Oh, there's more. Are these old? Wait a minute. What's going on here? I don't know what's going on. There's Slabori. This is a limit. That's Slabori, so that's funded. That's Egg's smiling face. If you don't know who Egg is, he's a contributor to Ian World. And then after that, it gets into Planet of the Apes. That's funded. So it must be pulling the same information, and it just on the website cuts it off. And then this is all the rest of this stuff. Heroes of the Arena, Pathfinder 2nd Edition, Songs of the Spellbound Sea. Yeah, I think could be the way the website breaks up the info. I don't know. I don't know. Gary's Appendix, Issue 6, Dragons. That was from July 11th. Yeah, so these are old. So I think this week it ends where Egg smiling face is. And then the rest I think might be comments and older crowdfunding campaigns. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. So one thing I wanted to bring up, that I thought was kind of cool and good, and I think it's in the spirit of me, or what I try to convey, I guess. And that is, being a positive force in the tabletop RPG hobby. And it was in the news, so I want to just bear with me again, because now I got to go back to my browser. So, yeah. There we go. So Mike Shea. Mike's a good guy. Sly Flourish, if you don't know him by his real name. So he had a blog entry, and it tripped up on it. Probably one of the news aggregators that I use, like Geek Native or whatever. being a good steward of the TTRPG hobby. And I thought some of this is going to be pretty straightforward, but I thought it deserved a little bit of highlight. So Mike posted this on 12 August 2024, and he streams on Sundays, and then, he talks to the chat and his patrons, and then he kind of hits record on a different system and puts that out as a podcast or YouTube video. And so on a previous episode of Mastering Dungeons, which is a different podcast, so I think Mike is a guest on there. It's another show. We used to be on the Misdirected Mark network, but is no longer there. But Teos Abadiah and Graham Ward answered an excellent question about whether Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast was being a good steward of D&D. Not here to debate that. We all have our opinions. Graham turned the question around, asking whether we were being good stewards. A far more useful question. We can't, he says in his article here, we can't control what Hasbro does with D&D, but we can influence how we promote our love of tabletop role-playing games to others. So he kind of goes into some of the things, which I think has been kind of a common message even from the Gaming and BS days. And but I wanted to reiterate it. Sometimes I gotta put myself in check, right? Embrace the diversity of the hobby. So he says, I think the most important thing we could do to be good stewards of the hobby is recognizing that there's no one right way to enjoy tabletop RPGs. And I think sometimes if we talk about this message and we kind of go, we embrace it, we try our best to kind of follow these things, the hobby will just be better for it. It would be a better place, in my opinion. Okay. And there you go. So he continues, embrace the breadth of books and accessories we have available to add to our games. Embrace the wealth of knowledge and experiences people in the hobby share. Embrace the different ways people come to the hobby. All right, being a good steward, here's some of the check boxes that'll probably sound pretty familiar. Actually, let me just blow this up again. Some of the specifics, he says, being a good steward of the hobby, we each get to decide, but here's some of his thoughts. So, welcome new members, show them how awesome and important the hobby can be, teach them how to play, listen to them, get to the fun fast, lower the barriers to play, start small and simple. There's a video going around with Deborah Vole and John, what's his name? Guy played Punisher. Behrman? Shit. And it's making its way around the internet is great. So he does a podcast, and he had Deborah Ann Vole on there, and he's like asking her about her D&D. And we all tend to talk about like our hobby, I play tabletop games. What do you like? Oh, my son plays Call of Duty. I'm like, nah, I play games like D&D. But what she did, and the reason it's been getting a buzz, is because John Barenthal, that's who it is. Thank you, Flint. John Barenthal. And he's like, you play D&D, right? You're a big fan. And she's like, yes. And he goes, oh, okay. And sometimes I think folks that encounter us they kind of, there's a little grin, right? You play D&D, huh? Eye roll. Although I think some of them, when they do that, there is a genuine curiosity and an interest, but they're afraid to let the guard down to find out what it's about, because they may think it's a little silly, right? You guys talking weird voices and dressing wizard robes with a staff, right? Like, oh, you're called the Dungeon Master, hee hee, right? And that's okay. They don't know, so it's a defense mechanism I think they use so that they don't think that they're being silly. But the reason I point this video out and tying it into this is get to the fun fast. Deborah in that video says, okay, you want to play D&D? Let's do it. You're a character, you're a ranger, you're walking through the woods. You come, there's a tree ahead and you see some movement. What do you do? She says, you're armed with a bow and a sword and you're, walking through the forest. And as far as you could tell, this thing up ahead hasn't noticed you. or she'll have them roll a perception check. Like there would be a perception skill, and you would roll a d20, and if say you rolled an 18, then I would convey what you see next. And so in that moment, they're playing D&D. They don't have the dice. They don't have the character sheet. She is going from, let me tell you about what D&D is and what it's about, to here, we will play right now virtually, bang, bam, boom. Okay. Adding typically you would have a sheet in front of you, and you would have numbers, and you had dice that dictate certain things. And it's pretty fantastic. And it's not like, what? That's crazy. How evolutionary. It's just so nutty. But it's just a different way than like conveying what we do and how we play, right? If you haven't seen it, go check it out. So Mike continues. The next one, he says, teach what players want to learn. If they want to learn D&D, teach them D&D. Don't steer them away from the game that drew them in. That's a tough one for many of us, me included. Like, they want to play D&D. They know about D&D. Well, I guess I will run D&D. Right? There's so many other better games. Oh, God. Mike, I don't know if I can do that one, Mike. So, but it's there is something to that, right? You don't want somebody that's like, I'm really excited to try this new food, and then at this new restaurant, and you're like, yeah, it's good, but what about this restaurant? They serve they serve that over here too, and I'm like, I've heard about this was really good at this restaurant, like that steak, that vegetable dish, right? But I eat at a lot of restaurants, and this is one that's just as good. Oh, I guess, right? So next one, he says, show them the breadth of the hobby. Talk about different games. Talk about different supplements. All right. This is now, it's kind of expose them to the many excellent publishers and products that exist in the hobby. So he doesn't want to Mike knows the deal. Focus on what matters. Show people how these games help us enjoy a fun and creative time with our friends. Always be learning. Learn from players' new experiences. Expand your view of the hobby. Recognize when your preconceptions might be wrong. And then he's kind of got things to avoid. Gatekeeping. Some people are like, I gatekeep. That's what I do. I don't want people screwing up my game. That's the deal. I think there's a difference between what you allow in your game and like putting up barriers of entry. That's the difference. Like, I think people I think people don't understand what gatekeeping is sometimes. So he says players and GMs don't need to prove themselves to enjoy the hobby. They can enjoy this hobby many different ways from our own. Don't alienate people who come into the hobby through avenues different than yours. Someone who starts playing because they love watching Critical Role or Dimension 20 isn't a tourist. They're a fellow member of the hobby. Don't bash other games. Don't promote one game by tearing down another. Let people choose the games that speak to them, even if their chosen system isn't for you. Right? It's not for me. It's not my jam. We all say it. It's not my jam. That's okay. Some of us don't like that food, drink, car, football team. It's not for me. No big deal. It's no big deal. Avoid alienating jargon. Describe games using real words people understand. This next one. I don't think it's bragging. I guess it can be braggadocious, but avoid throwing around how long you've been playing. Someone playing for only a few months is just as valuable to the hobby as someone playing for decades. It annoys the living shit out of me when I hear that on podcasts. It does. It just bothers me. I've probably done it myself. It unnerves me to no end because there is a sense of I started in the 80s, therefore I know this hobby better. And that's not true. It's not true. And what does that mean even mean? Now, one could say I've been running this game a long time, and therefore I say that because I know the rules better. It's to establish credibility with the particular game system or the setting or something along those lines. If you're being a dungeon master, GM, or something along those lines, totally get it. But it's often used like it just tells me you're old. And part of this has to do with probably my job. Like, I've been doing this work for 20 years. Yes, but the things you did in 90, 2000 may not even be relevant to today. It's a badge of honor for some of us. I've been playing since 1984. Some of us have, some of us haven't. But does that, yeah, that's good. Good for you. Awesome. Anyways, next one. Don't promote a single right way. There are many right ways to enjoy the hobby. Don't assume yours is the only right way. And then, of course, last one, kind of the last paragraph he has is like, just keep an open mind. Recognize that the way we enjoy the game doesn't have to be the same as those we talk to. This hobby evolved continually over 50 years. People of all different ages, backgrounds, experiences, drives, motivations come at it from all different angles. They enjoy different things. They have different experiences. Learn from new players as much as you can teach them. So I will put a link to this. I apologize, Mike. Please don't hit me with a cease and desist for reading your blog entry. Go over to Mike's site. He's not running ads, but he does put out good product. He actually has the City of Arches Kickstarter out on the, well, that's not what I was hoping to get to. He didn't put this. I don't think he put his Kickstarter. City of Arches. Let me go and just pull up his Flourish. Let me pull up his campaign, which still has 20 days to go. So if you're interested, check it out. There you go. Show him some love. He's got stuff on drive-thru. He's got stuff on, other, I think even Lazy Dungeon Master is on Amazon that you can get it. So, show him some love. Mike's a good steward of the game. That's all great stuff. Like that, I just couldn't let that not go unnoticed because I love it and it's great. And and I fall short in one of those at any given time. Like something unnerves me, like something's not for me, and I get trigger finger, I just like gotta make sure I get this. I mean, like I said, I say this stuff not only to like preach and be preachy about it or whatever, but I need myself to be reminded as well. I am not beyond making these mistakes. So there you go. That's all I have to say about that. Okay. Appreciate it. Hey, Wayne, good to see you. FanFest. He's taking a break. It's awesome. Wayne, he runs a lot of stuff at the local game stores and conventions. Good job, man. Great point on stewardship and promotion of our hobby. Yeah. I broach this topic locally with board gamers. We have people who are always dropping out of the hobby due to a variety of reasons. We need to welcome new players and grow. Indeed. Shambot. Brandon says, I totally got a bro dude to play at my NCO Academy. Yeah, Victor's. Yeah. He said airmen were often talking about it and wondered what it was all about. Like, if they're curious, like, feed it. Like, feed the curiosity. Yeah. Sly, he's good. Yeah. Mike's good people. He's going to be at Gamehole Con. I hope to go up and shake his hand and introduce myself, So, Laramie says, I'll push back on that. People shouldn't run a game they don't want to just because the players want them to. The GM's fun matters too. I think the purpose of that statement, though, Laramie, is initially, because that's the follow-up to what he said, is kind of like, and then show them like all the rest of the stuff. But yes, I agree the game master has to have fun as well. But, you know, there's an approach to doing it without just saying, oh, you came here via D&D, you want to know how to play D&D. I don't play D&D, but I can show you this other game that's really fun for me. That's probably the hardest one. That's probably the hardest one. I for sure, for obvious reasons. I learn to play at my local game store. I'm considering after options of D&D just 5e, such as Shadowdark, etc. Yeah, GM fun matters. It does. But you don't have to, like, run them a session. Like, one session, hey, here's D&D, like, and if you liked it, it's not a game that I particularly do all the time, but, or point them in the right direction. You know, Adventurers League. Brandon says, I did it as I wanted to run a quick, streamlined game, and I ran my favorite adventure. It's close enough, in my opinion. There you go. Agreed. You can compromise. Okay, we'll play some D&D for a set amount of sessions and then try something new. Yeah. Nobody's got to... Like, you're not... Like, this one person isn't going to form a D&D group. There you go. We got players to dip their toes into Cypher during the OGL debacle. Yeah. I'm anti-jargon as hospital people are bad at that. Yes. Your tenure in the hobby does not matter. There are brand new players 10 times better than guys with 40 years in the hobby. Oh, yeah. That's no joke. Dude, 50 years in the hobby. Terrible. Terrible. Legends. Terrible. Witnessed it firsthand. Terrible is a bad thing. See, here I go, Sean. Their style is not my jam. And you'd think like that's it. That's the one true way. Frank Metzner's running Redbox. That's it. Like, if anybody can run it the way that it's meant to be run, that's it. No, he doesn't run it the way he wrote it. I've been DMing since grade school. Luke from DM Lair. But Sean, one of the keys of convincing speeches is establishing expertise. Convincing speeches, establishing expertise. I suppose. I mean, I don't know. I know Brandon's being pretty tongue-in-cheek on that one. Thank you. Listing your RPG resume. Usually when someone says that, the next thing out of their mouth is total nonsense as well. One could say I've been playing an awfully long time, and I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. What the fuck I'm doing. That's true. That is true. Touche. Hey, how long have you played? Long time. I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. It's about how it's presented and used, to be frank, for sure. And Harrigan says I might be one. I'm also thinking of splitting my learn to play session in half, starting the game with one set of mechanics and playing a different set in the second half just to show the difference. Laramie can confirm Harrigan has no idea what he's doing. Hey-o. Some of us like Harrigan's approach, for sure. I often say I've been playing since 2000, but I wish it could have been sooner. Yeah. I hate right-wayisms. Drives me up the wall. I try not to brag about being an old. Always say you're learning. Good to see you, Brandon. So there you go. You can also do something for a long time in a wrong way. Yeah, that's for sure. You don't think Mike will make me blur this segment? I hope not. Copper says, there we go, back to City of Arches. There we go. Got a conversion. And he got his Lazy Dungeon Master bundle. Got some great things. I've got some products from Mike, too. Wayne is our true ambassador. Indeed. Matt says, the biggest drawback of my time gaming has always been people around me speaking as experts, exerting judgment as they have many years of gaming experience under their belt. Hit close to home. It's not going to go away, but it's just something to be conscious of, right? For some of us. Yeah, I can't run 5e. I've played twice, Brett and Levi Combs, so that's cool. Flynn says, I've been playing for 40 years. I've been playing for 40 years and with the same friend I started with to show new players the longevity and fun the hobby can have rather than to show off my experience. I think as long as the intent is there and kind of understood, but I think it's misinterpreted if it's just left at like, I've been playing since 1986. Yeah. But to Harrigan's point, I've been playing since 1986, and I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. So, yeah. Maybe we need to take back, I've been playing for X years. Try saying things like, I've been playing for 20 years, and it's been a pretty important part of my life. I'm so excited for you. I hope you have as many years as I have. See you, Saltheart. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Good to see you, Kev. Sean finally outed the great name he always talked about. Well, there's nothing wrong with saying you don't run 5e. Yes, it's the grill in the room, but if you don't enjoy running it, don't. There is no shortage of people who just want to try an RPG. Everything evolves over time. We'll evolve with it, I hope. Why shouldn't how we play games adhere to that? Yeah. See you, Laramie. I'm going to start wrapping up. Drive safe. CJ, good to see you, man. Thanks for chiming in. I definitely learned to be a better player and GM from folks new to the hobby over the last 35 years. Good. Experience and time doesn't always equal quality. No, for sure. For sure. So I want to thank everybody for showing up. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so, if you don't mind. Unlike reviews and podcasts, likes tend to make this pop up in other people's feeds. So it helps with a little bit of exposure. We could all benefit, right, from others. So I want to thank all these folks for supporting me on Patreon with a few dollars each month. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for showing up. I couldn't do this without you in the chat for driving me. Copper, good stuff today. Thank you. Don't be a stranger. Hope to see you again. I stream every stream every Saturday, 8 a.m. Central Time U.S. and talk about kind of the format's relatively the same as what I went through today. There might be a topic that stands out, like the old Sly Flourish article or something, but otherwise it's typical, what's coming from RPGs, what's been released, what's coming down the pipe. And, yeah. And, of course, the banter in the chat is always great. You'll see familiar names. And if you like some of the folks there, a ton of them hang out on our Discord server and talk about other stuff. So kind of the same mantra, some of the opinions there. One thing I will say with Discord servers and communities in general online, the tricky part about them is you don't know anybody when you join. So with us, some of us, we've played together. We've been at cons together. We've written into podcasts and things of that nature. We listen to each other's podcasts and join the chats. So some of us know each other when they do say something. So if you find something, where somebody's bashing a game or of a particular person's passion for a particular game, it's probably because they actually know each other. So while that's, we preach the, being positive force in the tabletop RPGs, it's kind of a friendship in jest, environment there. So if you're new there and you don't know some of the chemistry, you soon will appreciate that as time goes on. But if it gets too crazy, obviously hit up a moderator or something along those lines, or hit me up. Sean is saying we're nicer than we seem. I really appreciate some of you guys. I really do. Oh, man. Oh, man. Hope this never ends. I hope it never ends. So I'll let you go. Thank you so much. Be a positive force in the tabletop RPG hobby. Hope to see you on the next one, and play some games and spend some time with people you appreciate. Spend some time by yourself. You need to just kind of unplug a little bit. And we'll check you on the next one. Thanks, guys.